Okay, we're just going to tip this over. We already pointed out how we chose the placement for it. Tipped over, very closely in place, and we just simply unroll it. As we unroll it, we do want to keep a little eye on our plastic flags here. Be sure they don't get pinched. We'll check those again once we move it over. Do not want to pinch that wire.
All right, and there we have it, a 16-foot ramp unrolled end to end.
And we left enough room down here between the ramp and the wall so that when a wheelchair comes down the ramp, there's plenty of flat landing so they can turn and go on their way.
And how much space is there, Jerry? How many feet for a wheelchair to turn?
We should have a minimum of 5 feet down here, and we've got
more than that.
About 6 right now.
Okay, very good.
If we had 2 people for this tip over process, we'd have one at each end. We'd grab it, pick it up. Typically, I wind up working out on the job site by myself. So what I've learned to do is to hold a little bit, give yourself a lever, stand it up. You want to be careful not to get your fingers in the pinky points. Get the ramp fairly straight. I get myself about in the middle. There. Now, of course, if we were rolling this up to put it up, the process would be just the opposite. We would tip it on its back and roll it up. If you want to zoom in here, now we can show you the difference in those approach plates, or you want to do that in a separate thing?
We'll do it in the next video.
Okay.
The difference in the approach plates. Yep.
Looks like you got lucky and got only 2 caution covers on this side,
Yep.
and 3 4 on that side.
And none of them are pinched.
So the rivets help a little bit here. There might be more than that.
I wonder.
For demonstration purposes, if we were using the standard approach plate, as we saw below, both of which are included with the ramp, you have to move the ramp up on top of the stage, in this case, and set the first load-bearing link as well as the standard approach plate up on top. It's very important to note that when this is placed, that the first link in entirety is placed up on top, meaning this entire lobe, really until where this bolt is not hanging off. If it's only halfway on, you will have the ramp will teeter as you go on and off. Here you can see that it's fully on the stage and you have a very solid placement.
The instructions are always included with the handrail kit. So we've got the instructions lying out here. All of the components that we've laid out, as you should do before you start construction, are very properly named in the instructions. First, we've got our Allen wrench that's included. You'll see what we need that for. The short tubes are the uprights for the handrails. Those nice curved tubes are the end loops. Again, you'll see how that works. The shiny silver part are all the tube connectors. Above that, you see the black pieces. Those are the brackets that we will attach to the ramp, and the handrails will sit in there. And finally, on the far end, the long tubes are the handrail tubes themselves.
All right, let's get these put together. Okay.
We're going to start by assembling one of our end posts first. So we're going to use these brackets, and you notice that all of these brackets have set screws in them, and it's a good idea to back the set screws out so that when you look through the pipe you don't see the set screw hanging on the inside. We'll worry about tightening these up later. We're just doing the very first step in the assembly. That T-shaped bracket will go on the top. This bracket will go in the middle. On these, it really doesn't matter. My personal preference is to put the set screws up. A couple reasons for that. One is that when I put the end tube in, for example, and when this ramp is up, the ramp comes with this Allen wrench, and it's a fine Allen wrench. I set a lot of these up, and I'm kind of a tool nut anyway, so you can get a 5/16 Allen wrench. It goes on your ratchet, and it makes this assembly go much quicker. Again, we're just snugging these. We're not doing final tighten. That'll happen after we get them all in place. There. All of our end posts are assembled. These other four won't have the loop going off it, so we'll just use the elbows and the simpler tees. Just a bit ago you watched me assemble the upright that had the loop on it. We didn't show you when I assembled these. These without the loop are going to be in the center of the ramp. That'll make more sense in just a minute when we set it up. I'm just going to put these handrail sections together.
It was right there. You can't get mad at me.
When you do this, make sure your pipe is firmly in, all the way in. Again, that's why you wanted to be sure that those Allen screws were backed out before. That Allen screw didn't get backed out.
Yeah, the tube has to seat firmly into the bottom of that bracket.
I didn't have a brain, it's just air in there. I can just function without it. I lose a piece of my soul.
And now that we have our handrail assembled, we can take the handrail to the ramp itself and lay it on the ramp to see where our supports are going to go. If I try to put it there, it's going to interfere with my support down here. So I either have to go up one, or I have to go down one. I think I better go down one, because when I go up one, I'm going to wind up with a gap in between my two pieces of handrail right there. So my plan right now is to set that handrail in that position. I'm going to assemble another handrail, lay it on the bottom, and make sure it'll work out down there. Here I've got the mounting hardware and the bracket that'll attach to the side of the ramp for the handrail. Earlier we showed you that we set the handrail in place so we knew where these would go in this case. If you read the instructions, it tells you to count to this length and put on one, and then count down a few more lengths and put on the other one. So I take this nut, put it on the back side, very similar to what I did on the support a bit ago. Set the bracket over on the top, put the T-hole through. We're not taking it to final tight yet, we just want it snug. Notice that I loosened this bolt up in preparation so I can set the handrail in. We've got 7 more of these to put in. You sure don't need to watch that. We'll show you putting the handrail in just a bit. now ready to put a handrail in. We've got our brackets all in. These little set bolts have been backed off. Nothing has been final tightened yet. The brackets are fairly close to the correct position. Set our handrail up here. And it's not unusual that you may have to tap one of these brackets back and forth a little bit to get it to fit. The handrail should slide all the way down in and should hit on that T-bolt that goes across on the bottom. There, that one is in place. The instructions say to tighten these to 29 foot-pounds of torque. Most of us don't carry a torque wrench with. You just snug. These are not the bolts that hold the world together. You don't have to put 8,000 foot-pounds of torque. Just tighten them up so they're snug.
Okay.
It's always a good idea once the handrails are installed to go by and check. They should be real solid and rigid. Even after you have the system installed, it's always a good idea to go by, go around, and check all of the handrail bracket connections, the T-bolts, as well as the bolts that tighten in the tubes, just to go by and make sure everything's tight. There will be some settling when you're walking on it and stuff. So once you're done, all the tubes and everything should be solid to the touch. If you notice that there is a little wobble or a little wiggle in there, like I said, just go by and tighten everything up and everything will be solid.